Back in 1957, the original Speedmaster was launched as a racing watch. But as many of you know, with N.A.S.A certification, the watch would forever come to be known as the Moon Watch. We also know that astronauts are made of the right stuff. But for most of their time in space, they are simply passengers. That's not the case with motorsport. Space is cold. The track is hot. Space is lifeless. But on Earth, motorsport action lives. Okay, so the Moon Watch is totally incredible. But for this video, you must forget about it, because we're talking the Omega Speedmaster Automatic. The Speedmaster Reduced is now long discontinued, so we have the perspective to look at its history and discover a story all of its own making. A story about motor racing that brings it out from the shadow of its big brother. We'll come back to the racetrack, but let's start at the beginning. The Speedmaster Automatic was introduced in 1988. The 3510.50 has a smaller diameter than the standard professional model, and it also housed an automatic movement. Soon, the name Reduced was applied to this range of watches. Production of the reduced models would end around 2009. The original movement was a Cal 1140, a modular movement, combining an ETA 2890-2 with a chronograph module from Dubois. Omega would refresh this movement several times right until the end. However, halfway through production, Omega introduced the Cal 1155, based on the Valjoy 7750, a distinctly different look with subdials at 12, 6 and 9. At first glance, both watches look similar, but the left and right subdials are reversed. Coincidentally, the reduced subdials mirror perfectly one of the most iconic motor racing chronographs of all time. Omega was already known as an official timer of sports, and its rally stopwatches had long been established. In sweet serendipity, the rally stopwatch numerals are reflected on the dial of the Reduced in exactly the same font. The Speedy Automatics will come to share history with many race drivers over the course of its production run. The greatest of these will be Michael Schumacher. In 1996, Schumacher signed with Ferrari, but it was also the year he became a brand ambassador for Omega. The Schumacher Speedies would be launched by Michael at his go-kart track in Kirpen, Germany, the track he first learned to race on. Available in red or yellow, the colours were no coincidence, as this matched the livery of the famous prancing horse. Then in 2000 came the Omega Speedmaster Racing World Champion in black and white dial colourways. Next year, the World Champion 2001 Schumacher Limited Edition, featuring an oversized number 1. Then the Omega World Champion 2002 with a carbon fibre dial. But don't think the Reduced was all about Formula One. In 1993, Omega sponsored the BMW Euro team, competing in the Italian Supertura Championship. A Speedmaster Reduced 3510.50 was prominently displayed on the car. Meanwhile, in America, the championship auto racing teams were speeding around the tracks, and N.A.S.A Racing was one of the leading teams. In 1997, Michael Andretti was racing for N.A.S.A, and Omega chose him as a new brand ambassador. Shortly after, Omega launched the limited edition kart Speedmaster. This striking blue dial watch featured the kart racing logo. Paul Newman himself would offer the watches as Christmas gifts to his racing crew. Speaking of Paul Newman, there was a ton of Hollywood movies about space, and for that matter, racing too. So this story wouldn't be complete without a little Hollywood glamour. The 2019 film, The Art of Driving in the Rain, tells the story of an aspiring Formula One driver, Denny Swift, his wife and his daughter, and the family dog Enzo. The story explores the idea that the techniques needed on the racetrack can also be used to successfully navigate everyday life. Naturally, Denny sports a Speedmaster Reduced 3510.50. One of the last models released was the Speedmaster Reduced Japan 3510.82 in French racing blue with white subdials. Here the owner proudly sports it at the F1 track in Malaysia. Over its nearly 20-year production run, the Reduced maximised its relationship with motor racing. And although Omega made other Speedmasters with Motorsport connections, the Reduced couldn't escape its racing DNA. This watch was built for racing. And somehow, the Reduced expanded and magnified on that original design purpose. Nor, it seems, was this lost on the owners of the Speedmaster Automatic. A quick look at social media will soon testify to that. Post after post on Instagram suggests the owners of Reduced watches have not forgotten the Motorsport legacy. Social media, posted by enthusiasts and unfiltered by marketing departments, show collectors who love watches and cars are over the moon about the Speedmaster Automatic Reduced.